Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMTrading. Today's October 8th, 2015, and today's Thursday morning. So looking at the economic calendars today, first let's start with the GBP. At 1 p.m. we have a bunch of numbers. Monetary policy coming out at 1 p.m. That's South African time, obviously. And it should be kind of interesting how the GBP actually responds to this. And then we have later today unemployment coming out of the U.S. at around 2 o'clock. 2:30 South African time, and then that's a weekly number. And then in the evening at 8 p.m. South African time, we have FOMC meeting and government GBP, Governor Carney speaking. So that should be interesting about the monetary policy today. Looking at the graphs, let's start with the Dow Jones. Dow Jones, as you know, has been trending quite nicely. Every time we hit this 16,000 level, we kept on rallying up, and that's evident here. As you can see, this capitulation right here, where it didn't allow it to go below this 16,000. It hit it a couple of times, but never went below. And now we look like we're in a bearish run. I mean, on the upside, I think we're going to hit 17,100. I don't believe that we're going to hit 18,000. Particularly anytime soon, but we definitely can hit 17,000 as we're trading at 16,700. But you know, looking at the general economic conditions in the United States, things are favorable. So with that in mind, you have to keep into consideration that the market is not going that far down any farther along. But the question is where we're going to be trading, and I think we're going to be trading sideways for a little bit until there's some conviction on the downside. I don't think we're going to be breaking new highs. I think the markets, are leveling off in terms of their aggressiveness on the upside. But still, just keep an eye on it. It could be kind of interesting. Looking at the Euro USD here, this is obviously a weekly chart. As you can see, we're pretty much getting into this wedge formation right here. It's not a pretty wedge formation at all, but you know, it's a sign of the times, okay? Because higher lows, lower highs, and you know, it's just something that that we're trading in a sideways, and we're either going to go up or we're going to go down in either direction. What's going on in just geopolitically in the world right now is just very disconcerting. Migrants going into Europe. The general economic conditions of just the states itself, what's going on in Syria. So I think people are a little bit more cautious right now as to which way to go. Looking at this in a shorter time frame, 1 hour, and then a 4-hour time frame, you see what I mean. It's just really hard to find an edge of I mean, there's no real upper level, lower level. I mean, there's ultimately a few of them, but we're really in this very tight range. So until we break out, and I would expect it either next week to see some sort of capitulation in the Euro USD. Looking at the GBP USD, so we have been trading in a range, okay, more so than the Euro USD. On the upper range, 156-ish level, as you can see here. On the lower range, 151. And we're at this almost middle of the range right here. We're at 153. It would have been a great move to buy it on 151 and slowly, take it in to this little rally. The question is which way we're going to go, and this is a little bit more difficult because as the news is coming out, we're in the middle of the range as opposed to closer to one of the thresholds, either the support level or the resistance level on the upper side. So keep an eye on this today. It might be a good trade, it might be nothing. But ultimately you have to be in it to win it. So and speaking of the GBP, you have to really keep an eye on it altogether. And looking at the GBP Japanese yen as well, we're closer to a threshold. So might be a better bet to trade the GBP Japanese yen versus the GBP USD as the news comes out. But that remains to be seen, and we'll talk about it tomorrow exactly how it unfolds. Looking at the DAX here, DAX also above 10,000, which is a major threshold for the DAX. As you know, Germany is taking in a lot of migrants from Syria. Not that that should have any economic impact per se on the economy of Germany, but um, ultimately, this uncertainty, what's going on in the world with Russian jets in Syria and all this stuff that's going on, has added some pressure. So the fact that it's above 10,000 is a very huge thing. If we can rally, we can maybe see back to 10,400, 10,500 on the upper limits. But ultimately, I'd like to see some follow through before I jump on the bull side. Looking at gold really retreating. Ultimately at this level, 1142, and we're trading between 1170 and 1100. So, again, if you could play these, if you could take these, not play, but if you can trade these thresholds, you're okay. And there's ultimately, some decent places to make money here. Every time we hit 1153, we sell off. Every time we hit 1100, we buy. So, if you could hold it a little bit longer and just put alerts for yourself as to when these things are going to happen, you could really take advantage of the market. This is Razak at CMTrading. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.